Gather round, folks, for a delightful stroll down memory lane. Let's twist the knob on our radios and tune into yesteryear, back when the air buzzed with Morse code and love was poured into vinyl grooves. We're diving into the days when sending a message was an adventure and hearing a loved one's voice on a record was as warm as a fireside chat. So sit back, relax, and let's relive the wonders of communication from the good old days, where every beep, click, and ring told a story. First stop, Morse code, the clickety-clack concert of dots and dashes. Not just an SOS distress signal, but a marvel of the airwaves emerging in the 1830s. Imagine tapping to a Glenn Miller tune, where each dot and dash strung together rhythmic messages across the globe. It was the Twitter of its time, with more rhythm, less character limit. Morse code was a lifeline for sailors braving tempestuous seas and the secret whisper among wartime tacticians. This skill, once revered like a well-flipped pancake in a diner, required patience and precision. Morse code was the heartbeat of global communication, connecting continents before the internet's era. But as the 20th century progressed, it slowly tapped its last. Telephones and emails emerged, turning Morse code into a nostalgic echo, like drive-in theaters in the age of streaming. In the current landscape of communication, its role has gently receded, but it's lovingly remembered for its careful craft of patience and rhythm, akin to a timeless, well-loved melody in the symphony of communications past. The Teletypewriter, or TTY. Envision a bustling newsroom in the heart of the 50s, alive with these clunky mechanical marvels chattering away like a gaggle of gossiping ants at a family reunion. These robust machines served as the pivotal bridge from the familiar world of ink and paper to the dawning era of digital communication. Operators, the unsung heroes of this transition, orchestrated a mechanical ballet, their fingers dancing across keys with the precision of a pianist. Introduced in the early 20th century, these machines hummed and clacked in newsrooms, control towers, and business offices alike, transforming how we shared news and conducted commerce. Yet as the digital age swept in with the late 20th century, these mechanical chatterboxes gracefully took a bow, stepping aside for the silent, sleek efficiency of computers and the internet. These TTYs now sit quietly, proud symbols of a past where communication was a skillful mix of human touch and technological ingenuity, far removed from our emoji-filled texts. Remember pneumatic tubes, folks? Those whooshing message couriers in businesses and hospitals, they were like the internet's great uncle, with a dash of Houdini's magic. Born in the late 19th century, these tubes became a business staple by the 60s, zipping money and receipts through department stores faster than a rabbit in a hat trick. Picture this, a bustling store where these tubes sent sales flying like a magician's doves. Using these tubes was a daily marvel, a choreographed dance of air pressure and precision, like conducting an orchestra with the flick of a wrist. But as the digital age, with its computers and emails, revved up in the 80s, these mechanical marvels gracefully exited stage left, replaced by the silent, unseen speed of the internet. They remain today as charming mementos, sweet souvenirs of a time when sending a note was an adventure, a symbol of an age where the journey of communication was as thrilling as its end. Next up, manual switchboards. Remember those? A call wasn't just a call, it was a personal interaction like sharing apple pie recipes over the backyard fence with your neighbor. These switchboards, buzzing with life from the early 1900s to the 60s, were the epicenters of community news. They were more than just technology, they were the social networks of their day, where gossip flew faster than a hummingbird's wings at a garden party. Each plug-in by an operator was like adding another story to the town's living diary. But as automation took over in the swinging 60s, these warm human touches faded into history. Now, they're charming, reminders of a time when making a phone call was as much about the personal connection as it was about the conversation itself. In today's world of instant messaging and emojis, the manual switchboard stands as a testament to the era when a phone call could be the highlight of someone's day, not just another task on their to-do list. Ooh, and how about party lines? Shared telephone lines that turned every call into a communal experience, much like tuning into your favorite radio show, but with your neighbors as the stars. Picking up the phone was like opening a door to a bustling neighborhood party, unannounced yet always welcome. These lines, weaving through daily life from the 30s to the 60s, were the original social networks, buzzing with news, tales, and the odd tidbit about who won the blue ribbon at the county fair. They taught us patience as we waited for our turn to dial, and the art of discreet listening honed during accidental eavesdrops. As the 1970s rolled in, bringing a preference for private dialogues and one-on-one connections, the vibrant era of party lines softly receded into memory. They left in their wake a treasure of collective joy, stories, and a unity now as uncommon as a drive-in movie theater. Rewind to the days of the rotary dial telephone, the classic hallmark of a more refined and patient age. Each number dialed was a mini journey, a circular dance of the finger followed by the mechanical ballet of the dial returning home. These phones were more than mere devices. They were a testament to a time when conversations were planned, anticipated events. In businesses, they stood as sentinels of connectivity and opportunity. The act of dialing was meditative, a pause in the day to connect with someone miles away. But as the world sped up seeking instant connections, the rotary phone's dance slowed to a stop, overtaken by push-button ease and smartphone-y swiftness. Once essential, these rotary phones now stand as quaint antiques, symbolizing a slower, more intentional communication style lost in today's digital haste, where a ping replaces the charm of a ringing bell. Step into the golden age of cinema with newsreels, the granddads of today's news, painting the world in black and white before TVs ruled the roost. Picture them as the 1920s version of Twitter, but with more class and less scrolling. These short films brought war updates, royal events, and even the first moonwalk to your local theater, often as appetizers before the main cinematic feast. Born in the early 20th century, newsreels were the era's eye-openers, giving folks a peek into distant lands and heroic deeds. As the 50s and 60s ushered in TVs in every living room, like hotcakes at a Sunday breakfast, newsreels bowed out. Why wait for the Saturday matinee when news could waltz into your living room? These days, they're revered much like those old records tucked away in the attic, recalling a time when the news was a shared adventure, a collective experience far beyond the impersonal digital snippets of today. And who could forget the classic phone booths, those glass and steel cocoons? They were private havens in the bustling public square, where whispered sweet nothings, tearful goodbyes, and life-changing news were shared. Each booth, a witness to countless personal tales, stood like a trusty sentinel of communication. You'd step in, close the door, and the world outside just melted away. In their heyday, spanning from the early 1900s to the advent of the 21st century, these booths were as common as corner diners and served a similar purpose, a place to connect. But as cell phones began to sprout in everyone's hands, a transformation as stark as black and white TVs to color, these booths bowed out gracefully. They marked the shift from a world where conversations happened in designated public spaces to one where any spot can become a private chat room, symbolizing the profound change from communal communication to individual dialogues in our digital world. Let's retune our dials to shortwave radio, the globe-trotting whispers before the internet era. Imagine this. It's like having the world's stories and melodies delivered right to your doorstep, much like the milkman used to do, but with less clinking and more tuning. These radios, which hit their stride from the 30s through the 70s, turned living rooms into global forums, bringing exotic sounds and stories from continents away straight to your ears. It was akin to having a seat at the United Nations, but in your slippers and with a cup of coffee in hand. During times of war and international tension, these radios were more than entertainment. They were lifelines, the only connection to a world beyond our borders. They were the trusted voices in an era when information wasn't at our fingertips, but rather at the twist of a dial. But as the digital epoch wove its immense network, these delightful messengers of international news and views gently faded away, overshadowed by the rapid, unbounded realm of the internet. Finally, we have vinyl record messages, the heartbeats pressed into grooves. In a time before the buzz and beep of texts and emails, these records were the original voice messages. They carried the warmth of a loved one's voice across miles, like a long-distance hug. These records were intimate and heartfelt, akin to an audio snapshot capturing a moment in time. These vinyl messages became especially poignant during war times, allowing soldiers to send their voices home. Imagine the joy of families gathered around the record player hearing from loved ones miles away. It was like magic. Born in the early 20th century, these records peaked in popularity during World War II. Using them was simple yet profound. Speak, record, and send. A personal concert for a party of one. But as the pages of the calendar turned and technologies like tape recorders and direct phone calls emerged, the vinyl message's allure waned. In our instant messaging era, these records symbolizing a time when sharing a voice created lasting emotional connections. As we sign off from this nostalgic journey, remember that each click, dial, and buzz in communication history has led us to today's digital age, where connecting across the globe is just a tap away. Enjoyed this trip through communication history? Check out our next video for more insights. Remember to like and subscribe for more.